Picture this: a smoky back room in Hollywood, metaphorically speaking. Heavy doors, names etched on brass plates. Everyone inside knows each other's kids, lawyers, and dermatologists. Everyone outside just sees the glow from under the door. That's old-school filmmaking. It's not just cameras and lights, it's an exclusive club with a very expensive cover charge. Traditional film, the way it's been for decades, runs on big numbers. A modest studio drama might sit at, 10, 20 million US dollars? A proper blockbuster? You're easily in the 100 to 200 million range, and that's before marketing chews through another 50 to 150 million. Even small independent features often live in the 500K to 5 million bracket. That's not pocket change. That's sell your house twice money. Gear? You're talking cinema cameras that can cost more than a ute. A single high-end body at 40, 50 grand. Lenses, plural, can run past 100,000 for a decent set. Then there's lighting trucks, grip, sound, insurance, permits. Crews of 30, 50, 100 people. Every person another line item on a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet quietly says, only certain people can play. Festivals, those dreamy, fog-lit gateways to being discovered, aren't free either. Submissions to the big ones can be, say, 50 to 100 US a pop. You don't submit to one, you submit to dozens. Travel, accommodation, prints, marketing materials. Suddenly, just getting your finished film seen can cost more than making a short. If you live in LA, London, Toronto, or even Sydney, you're close to the fire. You can bump into a producer at a bar. But if you're in a small town in, rural India or outback Australia, that festival screening means visas, flights, time off work. Geography quietly becomes a gatekeeper. Then there are the invisible walls. Agents are the bouncers at the door. Studios, streamers, sales companies. They're the ones buying tickets to stories at scale. Film schools become sorting hats, signaling who's serious and who's just mucking around. You need recommendations to get an agent. You need an agent to get in front of a studio. You need credits to convince a festival to take a punt. But you need the festival to get credits. That little loop is not an accident. It's how power stays tidy. Networks, actual human networks, matter more than raw talent. Did you go to the right school, assist the right director, intern at the right company? Cool, step inside. If not, you might be making the most beautiful, haunting short on a second-hand DSLR in your bedroom, and it just dies in a hard drive somewhere. The old system isn't just expensive, it's designed so the keys to the kingdom live in a handful of pockets. Everyone else is peeking through the keyhole, wondering how the magic trick works. Now imagine someone leans over in that smoky back room and whispers, "The doors aren't locked anymore. They're just heavy." That's where AI comes in. By 2026, the tools that started as party tricks, chatbots, image generators, those early video models, have grown teeth. They're not replacing every job, but they are slicing through the cost stack like a hot knife. Traditionally, your indie pipeline looks like this: months to write the script. Maybe you pay a writer or you burn all your nights and weekends. Then pre-production, storyboards, shot lists, concept art, casting, locations. You're emailing, begging, hiring, coordinating. Then a frantic shoot with a crew, DP, gaffer, soundy, makeup, production design. Post-production after that, editor, colorist, composer, VFX vendors. Every stage is a new check. In an AI-augmented pipeline, a lot of that becomes software plus you. Script? You start with a prompt, iterate drafts with a language model, try 5 endings in a night. It won't nail your voice automatically, but it collapses staring at a blank page for 3 weeks into a tighter, faster loop. Previs and storyboards? You describe the shot, the mood, midnight, neon reflections on wet asphalt, 2 figures arguing under a flickering sign, and an image model spits out visual ideas. You refine, you shot list on top of that. Virtual cameras, 3D blocking tools, even rough animatics can pop out of the same ecosystem. VFX and environments. Generative video and image tools can fake locations you'd never afford. You shoot your actor against a cheap backdrop and replace the world with an AI-assisted composite, a cyberpunk Tokyo street, a decaying Art Deco hotel, whatever your story needs. Editing and sound? AI can auto-sync, propose rough cuts, clean dialogue, generate temp scores in the style you want. Is it perfect? No. But the good enough to keep moving threshold arrives in hours, not months. Suddenly a 1-person or 2-person crew can prototype an entire feature's look and feel from a laptop. You can collaborate globally, writer in Nairobi, animator in Sao Paulo, editor in Berlin, passing assets around in the cloud, all using similar AI-driven tools. And distribution? Instead of begging a festival, you can drop your film on platforms that favor shareable, episodic storytelling. You serialize your feature into chapters on social video, or release behind the scenes and drafts to your crowdfunding backers. Ownership gets weird, in a good way. Fans can crowdfund not just the budget, but also get revenue shares, NFTs, or other on-chain receipts, tracking who owns what slice of the IP, depending on the legal landscape in your country. The big thing is, the middlemen aren't compulsory anymore. You don't need a studio to access cameras, actors, or marketing reach. AI turns heaps of formerly expensive specialized labor into software-assisted tasks you can at least attempt yourself. You still need taste, but you don't need permission. All right, let's walk into a story. Our protagonist, Maya. No money, no uncle at a studio, no film school degree. She lives in a tiny apartment with bad lighting and worse neighbors. But she's got this one image burned into her brain. A lone detective walking through a flooded subway station where the adverts whisper back. That's it. That's her seed. Stage 1. Story world. Maya opens an AI writing tool and starts riffing. Urban noir. City that never sees the sun. Trains run on secrets, not tickets. She asks the model for log lines, character archetypes, twists. Half of what it spits out is cliché, but a few lines spark something. She keeps the good bits, throws the rest. The machine's a bouncy castle, not a ghostwriter. Stage 2. Script drafts. She feeds in her outline, telling the model to punch up dialogue, test different openings, try a version that's mostly voiceover. She's constantly steering. Less cheesy, more restrained. Make the detective sound like he's hiding something from himself. Over a couple of weeks, between shifts at her day job, she gets to a solid second draft that would have taken months solo. Stage 3. Visuals and casting. She can't afford a casting director, but she can generate character sheets, images of what her detective, the informant, the station master might look like. She uses those to pitch local actors on social media. Here's the vibe. Want to help build this? For locations, she knows she can't actually flood a subway, so she plans to shoot in a dingy pedestrian tunnel at night, then use AI-assisted VFX to push it into surreal territory. Reflections, ghostly adverts, water that's more metaphor than liquid. Stage 4. Previs and shoot. She runs key scenes through image and video models to get frames she likes, builds a shot list, maybe even a crude animatic. On set, it's basically her, one mate on sound, and a couple of battery-powered lights. The confidence comes from knowing she's already seen a version of the film in previs, even if it's rough as guts. Stage 5. Post on a shoestring. She edits on her laptop, lets an AI tool suggest a rough cut, but keeps final control. Dialogue gets cleaned with noise reduction, Music is generated as temp and then gradually refined. Maybe she finds a human musician online to build on the AI sketch. Effects for the flooded tunnel get layered from generative elements plus traditional compositing. Is it flawless? Nah, but it feels like her. Distribution. Instead of waiting a year for festival responses, she releases the film online in 3 chapters, paired with making-of clips showing just how tiny the crew was. She still submits to a few festivals, but their judgment isn't life or death. Here's the thing. The old world of film doesn't exactly die. Big sets, massive crews, 70mm prints, those will stick around, like vinyl records and classic cars. But the idea that you must be let into the club to tell a story at scale, that's what's dying. What we lose is some of the shared ritual, cinemas packed for mid-budget adult dramas, apprenticeship paths that, for all their flaws, did train craft. What we gain is a swarm of voices who never would have made it past the velvet rope. And in that world, the scarce resource isn't access to cameras or cutting rooms, it's judgment. Your taste. Your ability to say, that's derivative, that's interesting, that's me, while the machine sprays you with infinite options. The future filmmaker is less a commander of armies and more a strange little conductor of algorithms and humans. If you can hold your taste steady in that noise, you can make a film from almost nowhere. And that, to me, feels like a pretty good cliffhanger for where cinema goes next.